Greetings. I'm Laurie Lane-Zucker, founder and CEO of Impact Entrepreneur. It is the lunch hour here at the SOCAP conference in San Francisco, California. Lunchtime for others, but for some of us, we just keep going doing these interviews because there are so many really interesting people to get to know here. I am very, very pleased to introduce Unmesh Seth. And Unmesh, why don't you welcome
Thank you.
and tell me what your company is.
So my company is SoPact. It sounds similar to SOCAP.
So SOP ACT.
Social Impact. So we are the leading platform for impact measurement and management. And it's a platform designed to simplify the impact measurement and management for the entire ecosystem, whether you are asset owners, asset managers, incubators, or social enterprise or non-profits. There is one simple way to essentially starting the strategy piece that essentially helps you to align your theory change or impact management project-based approach, Iris Plus based profile, for example, and helps you to define the right kind of the strategy, whether you are an enterprise perspective or you are an asset manager perspective.
Now, you've been at SOPAC for a while. When did you found it?
So, SOCAP was started 4.5 years ago. It started with the idea that we presented at ND conference in Washington, D.C. There were other players with the different mindsets, B Analytics being one of them, IPAR. Fundamentally, this is a part of a journey. I mean, I'm a tech entrepreneur myself, but I saw huge gap working in a remote part of India and working with many funders and very large NGO that oftentimes funders were not aligning their outcome with the downstream organization. So we fundamentally believe that stakeholder voice is very important in managing the impact altogether. And that was my initial starting point when we presented our initial prototype at ND conference.
So you're from India originally. You're based here in the West Coast?
Silicon Valley here. So I was in one of the pioneering space called software integration. So before this gig, I have already done something. A company went public, obviously, called Tipco Software, and many other innovations. Obviously, was really. But at the same time, coming from India, issues of poverty, social inequality were really part of core growing up and learning. And so back in my mind, I always wanted to get back to social sector, but I was being a tech entrepreneur, so I don't know where to start. So only place I could start is to give up my corporate career and just take an independent journey. And that's what I've been doing for the last 9 years now.
So in the impact measurement space, there's clearly a lot of activity in it because it's so crucial, right, to it, both impact investors as well as the businesses and the entrepreneurs. Some have said that it is really important to have those platforms and those people who are helping guide or provide assistance to businesses around impact measurement to kind of have some kind of foundational agreement or common ground. So, for example, the GIN's IRIS system and lexicon has been very useful to some. How do you engage with things like both, say, IRIS and also the work of the Impact Management Project?
Yeah, so we really want to make sure that there is fundamentally it's about aligning the goals between the investors and the investee whom they're funding. And the place to start is to either to theory change of the funders and funders really the company that they fund altogether, or we have also new approach called Iris Plus integration, where you can choose, let's say, Iris Plus agriculture as the starting point. Within 3 seconds, you have the entire profile created for you. And obviously, it's just going to be a starting point. And what we are finding is that even though Iris Plus has done a phenomenal job, it's still never going to be perfect because every investment thesis is going to be unique. So you still have to contextualize altogether. And so we have more than 4,000 impact metrics built into the platform that includes IRAs and GRI and many other sustainability and impact investing type of metrics. All of them linked using SDG and impact management projects wherever it makes sense. And so essentially we simplify the whole process on taxonomy or lexicon of how impact jargon is essentially, so that as a fund manager, you have a very good, easy way to start the process. And it's just not designed for fund manager. You can also do, from enterprises can also start their journey and start gathering the impact evidence if they want to raise impact capital. At the end of the day, it's about really building the right high quality impact evidence for whatever you're working on and helping to meet your social impact goal, because as impact investing grows, the need for impact evidence is also growing altogether. And if you don't really demonstrate that, people are going to call out between impact washing and the true impact evidence creator.
How easy is, I assume that your platform is functional and useful for a range of companies across sectors and to different stages of company. I'm interested in early stage companies. How easy is it for an early stage company, which might be bootstrapping, small numbers of staff, not a lot, recognizing the importance of measurement and management in the impact space and wanting hopefully to build it into their DNA at the earliest time, but being limited in terms of their capacity. How accessible is your platform to them, given where they are and their limitations?
Yeah, so as part of my journey, one thing I saw that there is a lot of players who've been mostly collecting data and doing everything. 95% of people still use an Excel-based approach. And though Excel is an easy to use tool, it doesn't really tell you the impact evidence altogether. It doesn't have a concept of outcome. So I understand the question of how easy and accessible it is. On the other hand, there are more complex platforms like Salesforce, but it can take years to configure to what your need is essentially. So from get-go, we have made a very conscious decision to really invest into user experience and the flexibility as the top priority and altogether. That said, early stage social enterprise who are tech savvy, they wouldn't have any problem at all. People who are not coming from tech savvy, there may be some struggle here and there, and that's why we're building a partnership ecosystem where partners can work with the social enterprises to not only understand and realize, because at the end of the day, this is a platform helps to streamline, but there are a lot of soft aspects you still have to work, and that's where the partners can work together to simplify the whole journey for you altogether.
How accessible is the platform price-wise for an early stage company?
Again, this is one area that we continuously knew that pricing is always going to be huge pressure altogether. At the moment, it's if somebody has to build something like that, it's going to definitely cost something like 10 times more. That means it's a huge barrier for most people to even get started. Our focus has been all along to make sure that one day, maybe hopefully 2 or 3 years from now, that every social entrepreneurs can have this platform at $50 a month time frame altogether. Right now, pricing is slightly more than that, and it all depends on complexity, and every organization is unique altogether. But we have made it work very hard to make sure it's a very affordable platform altogether. But like I said, I think that ultimately, and it's not a technology user experience, that's the problem, but there's a lot of plumbing we have to do to make sure it's extremely scalable. And that's the mission, because that ultimately more people start to learn from the data on their own, better impact is going to be created.
Give me your website domain address for those who want to get more information.
Yeah, so it's www.sopact, SOPACT.com.
Very simple. Great. Unmesh, thank you very much for joining me.
Thank you.
Take care.